I analyzed 10 viral pieces of speaking advice content, and as an award-winning speaking expert, what I found was much worse than expected. So what I did is I broke down every piece of content into 5 different categories: delivery, body language, structure, mindset, and connection with the audience. And across all 5, only 20% will actually improve your speaking. 40% is half decent, and the rest is complete bullshit that will actually make you a more boring speaker if you follow it. But that, my friends, is exactly why I'm here. To break it all down, separate what's real from what isn't, and give you a clear path to become a more persuasive and charismatic speaker. Piece of advice number 1: eliminating filler words. I will give this one a massive B tier, right in the middle. Why am I saying this? Have you heard of Alex Hormozi? Have you seen him speak? This man is one of the most sought after speakers in the game, paid literally hundreds of thousands of dollars for one speech. And yet, if you look at him speak, every few sentences you'll hear here and there. So is that really what matters most? What about a guy named Eckhart Tolle? Maybe you've heard of him. #1 New York Times best-selling author, millionaire, traveling the world, speaking on stages. Have you heard him speak? Filler words can definitely make your speaking a little bit worse, but it's not what matters most. Plus, it's a symptom, not the root cause. It's only a symptom of something deeper. You see, when I get people on stage in my Born to Speak events, online, in person, when I get someone on stage and I tell them, okay, start speaking to us. Whenever I see someone starting to use filler words, it reminds me of when I started recording content first. It was horrible. I remember the first time I started editing my video course, there were so many filler words, I couldn't focus on what I was saying. So I had to cut them all out during the editing process. It took me 3 times longer than what it would have. That's when I said, fuck it. I am not using them anymore. And trying to solve them made me realize it's much deeper. So now, when I get someone on stage, I tell them, hey, what have you heard in the past to fix your filler words? Oh yeah, they tell me it's being aware of it, habit, it's just a habit. I go, it's much deeper than that. The problem is you're not comfortable with silence. You're not comfortable with the feeling of uncertainty of not knowing exactly what you're about to say. Do you think this video is scripted? Only the intro was structured, and the rest of the video, I have a list of advice that I want to rank from S tier to D tier, yes. But everything I'm talking about now is not scripted at all. It's all just flowing through me. And yet, have you heard me use a single filler word? It's because I'm comfortable with the feeling of pressure of the unknown. Right now, it's in front of a camera. Same thing in front of a stage. All right, we're already dropping a lot of sauce here. So the second piece of advice I've heard in the delivery category is focusing on how you're perceived. So looking good, sounding good, your voice, your body language, versus actually being valuable. I remember when I was going to Toastmasters, which is actually where I won Speaker of the Year, what happened is people were so focused on delivering their speeches perfectly. Silences at the right moment, with some variety in their language and eye contact across the room. What did you notice about the way I'm speaking? Sure, by the book, it might look and sound better, but what happened? All of a sudden, I sound robotic versus now. Because now you feel my passion, you feel my humanness, you feel my raw desire to serve. This is what I noticed the greatest speakers in the world that I was looking up to were doing. You look at guys like Tony Robbins, you look at guys like Daniel G. These guys were on stage and you could sense their passion. There was no script whatsoever. And the worst thing you could possibly do is be in your head while you're on stage. If you're in your head, you're dead. That's what I tell my clients all the time. They started saying it themselves. Danny, if you're in your head, you're dead. I remember hearing from Tony Robbins, him saying that the worst thing you can do on stage is to focus on how you look versus the people you're serving. The worst thing you could do. And people give that as advice. That's why I would give that a solid D. Like, it's the worst piece of advice you could hear. It could genuinely ruin your speaking. When you focus on the audience, is when you can start matching it, when you can start adapting, when you can start building rapport with them. People in sales, a lot of my audience is entrepreneurs, people in sales. You guys have heard about building rapport, but what about on stage? Same thing, you want to build rapport with the room. You want to connect with them. This is how it's done. It's by focusing, literally forgetting about yourself. It's not even about you. It's about God speaking through you. That's how you can see it. Or the universe or your subconscious mind, whatever you want to believe in. A deeper purpose. This is how you see guys who, again, we come back to Hormozi. How is he dressed? Is it all special? Nah. You look at Tony Robbins, like, it's really not that deep. These guys are not there about that. They're there to serve. You know, to this day, whenever I'm in these moments where I have less of I don't feel it. I don't really feel like showing up to my workshop and people are waiting for me. I don't really feel like recording a video. What happens is that when I show up with no preparation, like I don't have any script, and I just show up and I start by asking questions. So what are you here for today? What's the outcome you want to get from this session? And the more I ask questions, just like on a sales call, the more I ask questions, the more I start connecting with a person. The more I start caring, the more I start caring, the more I start getting in flow. Next thing you know, within a couple of minutes, everybody's in flow. We're all vibing. We're all in this momentum. And by the end, people get results live. If you want to experience that, by the way, there's links in the description. You can also see if I can give you feedback on your speaking, personalized feedback. If you qualify, you can go through the process. Otherwise, we have some group coaching sessions, group cohorts. You're going to see the vibe. It's not scripted. It's all about, like, what is the outcome today that we're gonna get? And that's all that matters to me. Talking about that, let's move on to the next category, which is body language. An advice I hear very often is use your hands. And honestly, this one is a pretty decent one. I would give it an A. The reason is that, let's say I was speaking to you like this. Hello guys, today we're gonna talk about speaking tips, and I will show you everything I learned on my journey of going from having anxiety to speaking on stage. And all the time, I won't move. My hands will be right here in the back. What's gonna happen? Subconsciously, we have evolved as human beings to be careful about what's going on with people's hands. Think about it. Let's say you met a stranger back in the days, right? So you meet someone from a new tribe or something, or you meet a stranger for the first time and you don't see their hands. They could be hiding a weapon. They could be hiding something to fuck you up in a few seconds. So automatically what happens is, if you see the hands of someone, you trust them more. And if speaking has the purpose of building trust, especially for entrepreneurs and salespeople, which is the audience I have, if trust is the outcome we're after, then you want to make sure to set up everything to your advantage. Now, the problem that I still see with this advice is that people start overemphasizing the way they're using their hands. And so you're gonna see a typical effect of the performance wound. The performance wound I call when I see someone making a video and they're all like, so today we're going to speak about 3 things. And now they're over-exaggerating it. And now it's creating this lack of authenticity. And then what happens is, well, you start losing trust. So there's this fine place where I am not even aware of the way I'm using my hands. It's not something I do intentionally while recording videos or while I'm on stage. It's something that I built. I call it unconscious competence. It's a moment where you do something right without even being aware of it. Now, the way I built that is by, guess what? Caring more about what I'm speaking about. If you look at most people, the way they speak with their family, when they get emotional, when they bring emotion in, they start using their bodies unconsciously the right way. But when they're on stage, they get all nervous, they start shrinking, they start thinking about how they look versus providing value. They're in their heads, they're dead. And what happens is their body language starts mirroring that. And that's how they lose their natural skill. And so really, at the end of the day, which is why I didn't put it at an S tier, is that at the end of the day, it's still not the root cause. Very important how you use your hands, still not the root cause. We're gonna go to the root cause very soon. Now, talking about some more root stuff, let's go into the category of structure. The first piece of advice here we have is finally an S tier advice. Finally. Start with a story, not a boring introduction. What would have happened if I didn't begin this video by telling you guys about how I won this award of speaking? Would you still be here? What would have happened if I didn't create this contrast between, so I watched 10 viral pieces of content about speaking advice, and then as an award-winning expert at speaking, I saw that it was bullshit. So what I did is I broke it down. So what happens is, this is a story. We're already creating a narrative. See, storytelling, narrative, we can even call it mythology, is the most powerful form of, is the most powerful tool in human nature. Think about it. What is war? What is religion? What is politics? How can someone attach a bomb to themselves and throw themselves in a crowd of innocent people, exploding everybody, willingly? How? It's because they believe that they're doing it for a greater reason. That's how nations are built. That's how brands are built. Our whole world is running on a narrative. That's the power of stories. Billions of people throughout history have died because of stories, and billions of people have been saved because of stories. No one cares about facts. No one cares about facts if it's not tied to a narrative. Even you hearing my words right now, these words individually won't make any sense. Think about it. Word. If I just say word, that doesn't mean anything. It's a sound, it's symbols, it doesn't mean anything. It's the little narrative you've attached to that word and the relationship it has with other words. You're building a narrative in your head, your own life, past, present, future. You're living a narrative. This is why sharing stories, if you think about it, every point when I was speaking about the fact of serving the crowd, for example, versus being in your head, I gave the example of Tony Robbins. I gave the example of me getting that piece of advice, me going to Toastmasters, seeing what was out there, or the filler words, me editing my own video course and having so many filler words, or me saying that I went from social anxiety to now speaking on stage, this story that I share often in my content. This is what actually gets you guys to still listen to this moment. Otherwise, you wouldn't have listened. If it was just, hey, 5 pieces of speaking advice so that you can speak better. Number 1, number 2, number 3. That's it. AI can do that. AI can do that much better than you can, huh? If I was here just to give you guys information, that's all, you would get that much faster with AI. The reason we're still valuable as humans is because of the narrative that's tied to it. It's because of the vulnerability of being human. It's because of the stories that we can share. That really is the most powerful thing you can do. That's some S-tier advice. So start thinking about, what's the narrative? What's the narrative of your life? What is the story that you're living? Why are you doing what you're doing? What's the purpose? What's the intention? Bring as many stories as possible. I literally have a Notion document full of all the stories, the challenges I've overcome in my life, the obstacles, remembering why I am the man. This completely changes the way I teach. When someone asks me a question at one of our workshops, the reason I can answer all these questions is because I can always tie it to a story in my life, to give an example, to make it real. All right, now the next piece of advice in structure is to always finish your speeches with a conclusion. I find that one, this is just my opinion now, particularly cringe. I would give it a C. If you really were able to move people throughout the speech, get them to take action live, get them to reframe their whole architecture of belief, and if you end with a very high moment, a high story, a story that encompasses, that proves, that gives an example of everything you taught them today, versus being like, so in conclusion, what we spoke about today is 3 points. Bam, bam, bam. It's just cringe. It's cringe. It's some AI shit. When you ask AI, what is it going to say? In conclusion, it's going to give you a summary at the end. Fuck this summary. Forget about the summary. Ending on a story, again, that I've observed from Tony Robbins, all his online audio courses end on an epic fucking story. This is huge. Or with a question. So what are you going to take away with you today? What are your top takeaways? That's how I finish my coaching calls. That's how I end my workshops. What is your main takeaway? This is valuable. Forget about the summary. This felt personal. Huh? I have a personal problem with summaries. Alrighty, now we're going to mindset. Oh, mindset is everything. You hear that all the time. Mindset, it's all about mindset. Well, what does that mean? The first piece of advice is, oh, you must prepare. The mindset of preparation. You must prepare with a script. The last one, the worst one. If what you rely on is script, good luck. You're about to get cucked by AI. Good luck, my brother. See you nowhere. I'm just being real. If what you rely on is a script, AI can do a better job than you. The whole point of becoming irreplaceable in the age of AI is to be able to improvise on the spot, to be able to connect with the room, to be able to be real. The more you are memorizing a script, the more you're in your head. The more you're in your head, you're dead. This is a very controversial one, huh? The script one is a very controversial one, but let me make it very simple for you. If I give the perfect script to someone with social anxiety, and let's not roast them, let's take me as a younger self, bullied in high school, terrified of speaking in front of people, almost dropped out of a class, actually exited the class when I was about to speak so that I can go knock on the director's door and say, hey sir, I'm not gonna speak on stage today. I'm not doing that. You can put 0 on my scorecard, I don't care. Real story. If you give the perfect script to that guy, versus you now give one prompt. You give me one prompt, one sentence. Danny, speak about the effects of social media on the social anxiety of young people. Go. You have literally 30 seconds to prepare. Hop on stage, you're in front of 1,000 people. Who's going to perform better? It's not about the script. It's about how you deliver what you say. Even if you gave the same script to these two people. You think about the best speaker you know, it doesn't need to be me, the best speaker you know versus a social anxiety person you know, right? You give them the same script. Is it about the script or is it about how you deliver the script? Focus on the high leverage stuff. Focus on understanding human psychology. Focus on building conviction in what you're talking about. Focus on the skill of storytelling, of frameworks. Do you think Jesus had a freaking script? The most influential man in history? 2,000 years later, we still follow the calendar based on his date of birth. There's more than 2 billion people that literally think he's God. Do you think he had a script when he was speaking the Sermon on the Mount? Or what about other prophets? Muhammad, did he have a script? What about modern day people? You don't need to think about them. Maybe you think they don't even exist. Whatever, we're not going to get into that. Think about Tony Robbins. You know he exists. He's still alive. Do you think he has a script? The way I've been able to give my clients outstanding results in Born to Speak is by making scripts literally the enemy. I will never give a script. Never. So what happens is people join and immediately it's like, okay, hop on stage, tell us the story of why you're doing what you're doing. Immediately, boom, what's the fastest way to learn how to swim? If you were to teach someone how to swim, what's the fastest way to do that? Would it be to have your little whiteboard and teach them all the swimming techniques for hours? Or would it be to tell them, listen, 3 things, boom, boom, boom. These are the first principles. Awesome, you ready? All right, your ass is getting thrown in the water. And now you learn as you go and I will be next to you. What will be the fastest way to learn? Who will learn faster? Same thing if you're trying to learn a language. What's the fastest way to learn a language? 15 minutes per day on Duolingo, or being thrown in the middle of the country that speaks only this language and you have no other choice but to survive. Exposure therapy is the way. This is how I experienced all this transformation in my life. Like you wouldn't even believe it. People look at me speaking now and they're like, what? And I tell them I used to be socially anxious. That's how I did it. I challenged myself, got on stages I wasn't supposed to be on, approached women beyond my league that I wasn't supposed to approach back then at this age. I did whatever it took to expose myself, to destroy my ego. So if that sounds interesting to you, I have created this whole environment of Born to Speak around that. If you're looking for a stage to practice, to get reps, to get live feedback, that's where you found me. All right, piece of advice number 7. Now this is a very good one. This honestly changed my life. I would put it at A tier. Record yourself and watch it back. Watch yourself speaking. I remember back in the day when I discovered journaling for the first time. It was the beginning of my self-improvement journey. So I discovered journaling and I told myself, you know what? I was learning English back then. If you didn't guess so far, English is not my first language. It's my third language, actually. The way I was able to build it to this level is by, at the age of, I was 14, 15 back then, my English was cooked back then. No English whatsoever. Barely speaking English. What I did is I told myself, you know what? Besides just journaling, how about I try video journaling? How about I record myself speaking 20 minutes per day? And the rule is I cannot speak any other language than English. So if I'm looking for a word, for the right word, I will pause and look for it until I find it. That's how I drilled it. What happened is that when I was watching myself speak and I was listening to the journal after the video journaling, I started noticing little things about the way I was speaking. I said, I'm actually pretty charismatic in this bit of the video journaling. I'm actually pretty charismatic. What did I do there? Just through sheer exposure, I started noticing things. I started doing more of what was charismatic and less of what wasn't. This is how I got comfortable speaking in front of the camera. I just did it so much back when it wasn't even about posting it. I mean, I've probably made close to 1,000 pieces of content before even posting one. It was just for myself. Then I deleted the video. So I recorded for the sake of just recording, not speaking to a wall literally, because that's a little bit weird. Although I've done it when I was practicing speaking on my whiteboard, I was speaking to what? To ghosts, pretending like raising hands and shit. I'm weird, okay? This is why I got what I got. I'm a little bit delusional, but that's for another video. When I was speaking in front of the camera, it was a little bit less weird when I was recording it. And what happened is, besides learning English, it's also a big reason why I learned speaking. Not only this, but voice messages. Why are you still texting? If you want to learn how to speak better, any platform that offers anything else than texting, prioritize voice messages. I don't know about you, when I send voice messages, and now thank God I know I'm not alone, because I have friends, by the way, all of them speakers who do it. As soon as I send a voice message, I listen to it again. It's like a habit I built. I listen to the voice message again. I used to think it was a little bit weird, like why am I doing that? Now it's like, thank God, because every time I listen to the voice message, my brain is scanning for, I could have used less silences there. I could have spoken with more conviction. I could have made it better. It's an unconscious process, but it's consistent feedback. You know, people say it takes 10,000 hours to master a new skill. I say that's bullshit. It takes 10,000 pieces of iteration. It takes 10,000 reps with quality feedback that you improve on. That's the way you can compress time. All these little things, voice messages, video journaling, things that you would do anyways, but then you do it speaking instead of texting or instead of writing. I feel a little bit bad talking about, and I will do it as respectfully as I can, okay? I'll just be as objective as I can. The piece of advice of joining Toastmasters. See, Toastmasters was the community that finally made me see that I have a gift, that I have a talent. It was going through Toastmasters that allowed me to have the idea to launch my own speaking community, which is Born to Speak. Now, the thing is, well, you might guess why. It's not just randomly that I had this idea. It's that, unfortunately, I believe it's not adapted to our generation or to entrepreneurs. I mean, it's a 100-year-old company, association, organization, first of all. Second of all, it's mainly corporate. So if you're in the corporate space, sure, it can help you. I'm an entrepreneur. I was looking up to guys like Tony Robbins. So honestly, I would put that as a C tier. C tier. I would rather you find opportunities to speak to, like anything. Just like join podcasts, like do anything. Organize your own free event on Eventbrite and bring people for a workout or a run club, like anything that has an actual purpose related to it versus just going there for the sake of just, I don't want to say anything else that's bad about Toastmasters, okay? It served its purpose. I just don't believe it's good for entrepreneurs, okay? This is why I launched Born to Speak. And sure, I might be biased. It's also what I've heard from my entrepreneur friends. I invited my friend one time, and he goes, Danny, there's no way this is the only place where we can learn how to speak in Montreal. That's where we grew up. And so I go, well, brother, like there's no other place. And he goes, well, bro, you're already so much ahead of that level. Like, I feel like you're wasting your time a little bit. I launched Born to Speak as a result. So I'm not the only one. And if you want to experience it for yourself, go try it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. Every city has its own Toastmaster. You can try it out. If you're in Montreal, obviously, Born to Speak is here local. You can also join us, compare. Otherwise, online, Born to Speak is available for every country in the world. Link is in the description again. Now we're going to the category of connecting with the audience. I remember, this is a piece of advice that I got from someone close to me growing up. But that person was telling me, and that person wanted to help me, so I'm grateful. But what they were telling me is, hey, Danny, if you're nervous speaking in front of a crowd, look at the back of the crowd, avoid eye contact, and look at the back of the room. This is literally a D tier advice. It had good intentions, but in terms of actual results of speaking well, this is a D tier. It's like worst tier. The reason is eye contact is one of the most important parts of a speech. Connecting with the audience. Think about it. Let's say we remember that people only respect you to the degree that you respect yourself. People only follow you to the degree that you follow yourself. People's perspective of you is a reflection of how you perceive yourself. This is a fundamental law of life and the universe. If you don't believe me, try it out. You'll see how drastic the difference is and how everything you have in life is a reflection of how you perceive yourself. So the same way, let's say you're speaking to someone and you're completely ignoring a part of the room. What do you think that part of the room is going to feel about you? Well, fuck you then. Why would I be interested in you? Why would I see you? Why would I look at you if you don't even look at me? I feel rejected. I don't care about what you're saying. I feel rejected. People want to feel seen. And so when you're on stage, it's very important. Every part of the crowd, you want to connect with a few individuals deeply, at least in every corner of the crowd. It's very important. Either in your body language, so you point parts of the crowd, or with your eye contact. It's so important. Plus, what that's going to allow you to do is build rapport. So you're going to care more about what you're talking about. Because when you see the eyes of someone going like this in the crowd, this is my favorite moment. Like someone's eyes are shining. There's this spark. I know that what I'm speaking about is clicking. You're building connection with the audience by looking at them. And by the way, if you're nervous to look at people in the eyes, what happened a couple of weeks ago, I had an event, I was speaking in front of 100 people. So the thing is, the whole day I was the animator, so I had to bring the energy up. And so I'm on stage and I'm like full high energy, I'm speaking with authority, I have the frame over the room, and what happened is I started looking at people in the crowd, and a lot of them couldn't even hold eye contact with me. It's like, what? I'm supposed to be the guy who's nervous on stage. You can't hold eye contact with me? Why do you think that was? I call it the spotlight effect. When people are in crowds, even if you're in the audience sitting down, the first thing that people are thinking about is, ooh, what are others thinking about me? You know how your own voice in your head is like, oh, what would they think about me? Everyone is thinking that. So at the end of the day, no one gives a fuck about you. Even when you're the guy on stage, they cannot hold eye contact with you. Your eye contact is so powerful, they look away. Oh, they're nervous. They're cute. You can see your audience as cute. They're cute. They're cute. That's the best frame you can have. You can remember they're all humans. They're insecure about their own stuff. They cannot even hold eye contact with you. That was a big moment for me. Read the room and adapt in real time. This is how you bring everything else I was talking about into one. At the end of the day, you're in business. You're watching this because you're in business, or you have an impact. There's an outcome, a result you want to drive. Influence is a transfer of trust. Influence is a transfer of state. That transfer can only happen in connection. And that connection can only happen spontaneously. It's like having a one-on-one conversation. Can you imagine having a one-on-one conversation with someone and you have your plan in your head and no matter what they say, you stick to the script? I'm not done with the scripting, fuck scripts. You stick to the script no matter what they say. How well are you gonna connect with the person? Is that gonna work well in dating? You're meeting a girl for the first time, yeah, and you have your script, no matter what she says, yeah, and you just go back to what you were planning on saying. That's not how it works. So the best speeches are the same way. Read the crowd, adapt in real time, ask some questions. I have never had a single speech in my life, a single speech, that has gone exactly according to plan. It does not exist. Not a single one. And now I know it. When I prepare a structure for a speech, even if I do prepare, let's say I'm speaking for the first time at someone's company, and so they have some values to respect, so I have to prepare just a little bit. It's not like it's my own event. So I prepare a little bit. I have a structure. I already think of a few examples I'm gonna give, a few stories I'm gonna share, a few questions I'm gonna ask the crowd. These are the riskiest ones, but now it's fun to me. So let's say I prepare a question and I expect the crowd to answer something. It never goes according to plan. Never. The crowd answers something. I'm like, what the fuck? So I got to adapt automatically. But this is what makes great speakers, is the capacity to adapt. So let go. Improv. Improv is the real skill. That's what I focus on mainly with my people. Again, improv. The capacity to show up. That's what a true expert does. Someone who has real authority can show up and deliver under any circumstances, in any environment, and still deliver what's required. That's a true expert, can answer any question at any time. Politicians, some of the greatest speakers. You ask them any question, they'll find a way to answer without even answering. They're famous for that. They'll find a way to flip it over. They'll find a way to adapt in real time, no matter what you throw at them. The greatest leaders I've known in my life, same thing. You throw any doubt, any objection at them, they will find a way to reframe the shit out of you. You think they prepared for every single thing you could say? No. They're rooted in core principles, and they can adapt in real time. If you want to practice, you know where to find me. Awesome. That was all for me today. What a freaking video. A lot of sauce was dropped. I'll see you here very soon.